Now, the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson says the country will merge its International Development Office, known as DFID, with its foreign ministry. This decision, however, has raised concerns and criticism. The opposition leader, for example, Keir Starmer, says this move will diminish Britain's place in the world. At a time when Britain's responsibility for its colonial legacy is being discussed, many believe that a transparent, unpoliticized humanitarian effort is more important than ever. Let's now speak to Ashfaq Zaman. He's an aid worker and co-founder of CNI News in Bangladesh, and he joins us now. Bangladesh is a former British colony. Welcome to the program, Ashfaq. What's your view on this?
Thank you very much. Well, I think at this very critical time with Brexit, as well as the renewed intensifying debate on Britain's colonial past, which you just mentioned, it really doesn't seem to be giving a good or positive signal to the global community, at least in terms of perception, for the DFID to be abolished or merged with the Foreign Office. The trust, goodwill, and social value that DFID has been able to generate over the years can be massively affected, which not only have an impact on Britain's soft power, but also its leadership position amongst many developing countries and partners. I mean, DFID over the years have done a phenomenal job in fighting poverty hand on hand with some of the most underprivileged communities, while gradually offsetting the baggage of its colonial past in those very regions.
Which is the very criticism. But the Prime Minister has pledged that he would still continue to support aid. What he's saying here, that this system of it being separate is outdated. Other developed countries, for example, are already running aid as part of their foreign ministry. So it seems like a fair enough merger, doesn't it?
See, in moral grounds, the essence of aid should never be conditioned on foreign policy goals. It should always be pure to its core with only the humanitarian aspect in its consideration. I mean, humanity is not only about trade and benefits. And what David Cameron recently said, I believe it's true that this may result to less respect for the UK overseas. In our news portal CNI News, this particular DFID news was quite heavily criticized by the local people, and it was quite evident that the decision itself has put a question mark on Britain's global leadership, even before the real outcomes of this decision are to be seen.
What about the focus on national interests, though? I mean, especially with weaker economies in the event of this pandemic, many people here would say it's time to look after, the United Kingdom first.
Well, I think it's in line with some of the US policies or some of the remarks from the US policymakers that we are recently seeing. And I think even if you can consider about economy on a macro level, on a micro level, definitely it makes sense to look at the locality first. But if you are considering macroeconomic factors, then we have to think about long-term relationship. We have to think about cross-border trade as well. That's how good economies actually grow. And if you look at some of the Commonwealth countries, their economy is booming, and it only makes sense for UK's greater interest, particularly after its divorce from the European Union, to look after those relationships, to build those relationships. Britain will definitely feel more comfortable getting into those countries, having good trade deals, if those countries and their citizens and their policymakers have a good perception about UK's leadership, let it be through the soft power or let it be through this development work that they're doing for their citizens.
Okay, thank you very much. That's Ashfaq Zaman, aid worker and co-founder of CNI News in Bangladesh.